To all of the guests and the audiences, fellow citizens, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasure morning to all of you. We all know that all things right now are getting tight and tough, and we must stay healthy and safe at all times. And as your speaker for today, I will enlighten your minds with regards to our situation right now. As a matter of fact, it was really an honor for me to stand in front of all of you and deliver my speech on how and what to prepare in these times of pandemic. Before we start to our agenda, let me introduce myself to you first. I am Jayron Dela Cruz, a grade 11 senior high school student of Calamba City Science Integrated School. And at this point in time, it is really important for us to be alert and aware on what is happening around us and do what is must along the lines of actionable things that we can do to simply handle and manage the impact of pandemic to all of us. I assure to you that all of the information that I will be sharing to you are all reliable and advisable for the purpose of applying it on our real life situation in spite of the fact that we are having difficulties at all aspects in life to our current situation. I can also help you to realize that the threats of the spreading virus around the world is not a hindrance to our joyful life. Now, let's begin about what is pandemic and how it affects the entire world, because there are many misconceptions about the spreading virus or what we all know, the COVID-19. Like it is just a simple fever and cough that we can cure by taking antibiotics and other medical supplies. And some of us are not aware that it is a serious case. With this, I can say that there are still remains of lots of confusion about what COVID-19 is and how it has been able to create a global crisis or pandemic and put us in a situation where any movement with regards on having any physical contact with one another is restricted. This is the time that we need to open our minds and be insightful in this kind of situation and help each other sustainable and financial needs in any other way, for the reason that this pandemic can lead and may result in weakened economy, as well as misinformation, public confusion, and travel restrictions. That's why I am here at this moment in order to share all of my knowledge and learnings on how and what to prepare during these times of pandemic. Moreover, it is easy to understand that our current situation in every people can be fearing and disruptive, and also, it can make every each of us afraid and anxious when we face a serious situation or a pandemic like the coronavirus. But don't forget that we have the ability to do things to deal with our pandemic situation and minimize the overflowing cases in our country. For us to be prepared during pandemic, we must gather important and reliable information from trusted sources on social media platforms and even in trusted news segments in television, so that we can stay informed and we are able to make plans and stock up essentials to simply address the pandemic. In addition, we just also need to stay calm because pandemic is truly nerve-wracking for all of us. And we will be needing a peaceful mindset for us to be able to think straightly and positively and focus the situation that we are in. As I said, it is important to have reliable information and fact-based sources because it can help us to make right decisions and comprehend the actual risks to you and to your family by planning ahead just right on time. For further information, we must also know on what to do during pandemic in the event that the spreading virus reach our country, specifically our community, so that we are able to prevent or to stop the spread of this virus and contribute this to reduce the overflowing cases of the people who have this kind of contagious disease. Additionally, it is highly advisable for every each of us to follow the different guidelines as well as the ordinances and the health protocols implemented in our country. And the most important thing to do is to follow public health instructions such as isolation if you think that you are infected with the virus when you have contact to the infected person, and also contact tracing is a must to prevent the spread of the virus throughout the world. Furthermore, We also need to wear face masks and do the social distancing when we are going outside, as the common restriction for us to avoid transmitting the virus to one another. Also, be aware on what is the sign and symptoms of an infected person so that you can make an immediate action to save the person and your community for the threat of the virus. Lastly, it is really important to have a practice of good hygiene not just only to our home but also to other places. And we must avoid crowds as much as possible because viruses can spread in variety of ways and we are not letting this virus to ruin our joyful life. To sum things up, we are in a situation where every life of our loved ones and also to ourselves is in highly at risk, and we are fighting for some extraordinary and tiny enemy that we cannot see and no one even know where it is exactly. But in order for us to overcome it, all we need to do is to help each other in these difficult times and pray for everyone's situation right now. Before I end this speech, I just want to remind all of you that if you care and love your family and friends, do what is must for the sake of their safety if you know that you are the one who is infected or the one who have physical contact to infected person. And if not, always do the things that I shared to you on how and what to prepare during these times of pandemic. All in all, thank you very much for letting me to share my knowledge and learnings to deliver my speech about this topic with regards in pandemic, and all I can advise and share to you from all of my heart based on what I observed these days is that despite on what kind of difficulties are we facing right now, just remember that unity must have always seen to every each of us.